So again, all kind of nice ideas, sound good, but is it actually working? Is anybody making money doing this? And so we have some great examples of things that are working for us. And very fortunately, we have Tammy and Steve with us this morning, who are the owners of bestdestinationwedding.com. So why don't you come on?
Hi.
Good morning. So why don't you give us a little bit of background on BDW, and then we'll get into some examples of how you've mastered all this.
Great. I started BDW in 2006 when my husband and I were planning our wedding. I just found a lack of a space to really get good information on how to plan a wedding in Mexico, in Cabo specifically. Originally it started as just a Cabo wedding forum and has grown to include the rest of Mexico, Jamaica, Dominican Republic, Hawaii, and now is probably the largest destination wedding site on the internet. And that was started in late 2006. I've always really encouraged vendor participation because some of those vendors really provide the best information for locations. An example would be a bride was looking for a spot in Mexico to have a trash the dress session at a beach. And if you're not that familiar with Cabo, you wouldn't know where the best places to shoot. But some of the photographers would chime in and give just their recommendations on the best places to shoot and the reasons why. And so I've always really encouraged that interaction between the vendors and our members.
I love one of the ways that we talk about it when we talk to these different vendors is that these one-to-one conversations. So maybe someone planning a wedding wants a recommendation of where to have this photo shoot, and you answer that question for one person, but 5,000 more people over the course of a year come in through Google, come in from elsewhere on the site and read that conversation. And so it's not as though you're in the store and talking to one person. You are doing that. You're having that personal connection, you're building that loyalty, but you're actually getting to amplify that signal out to thousands of people that come in through search engines and read that interaction later. So it's incredibly valuable if you can talk to brands about the amplification of that time spent and how valuable that can be. So Tammy's got some great examples of ways that brands have been able to control their image through participation and the structured ways that she's been able to devise to bring brands into the community.
So we had this vendor that was participating on the forum, but in a negative way. They would create false usernames and pretend to be brides giving false reviews. And it was pretty obvious. So we busted them and they got banned from the site, and it was very blatant. They probably posted like 10, 12 different usernames with just saying, use this photographer, they're great. And in broken English because they're from Mexico. So it was just really obvious that they weren't authentic bride reviews. We busted them and they came back and they swore, can we please be let back on the forum? We promise we're gonna behave this time. And we let it back on, and they, even though there was a backlash because of the negative actions that they had done previously, they came back on, they started providing really good information, good advice. They were just really helpful, and they really changed the reputation around on the forum. They are just booking a ton of weddings through the forum and are now one of the top photography businesses in the Cancun area, and they have just multiple photographers working under that. And I know that this site, BDW, is really a big source of where they're getting their leads.
Hello. All right. And I think one of the things that really changed the game was to bring in some transparency. So instead of them feeling a need to create fake accounts, this custom signature on the right-hand side is an example of, this is where they kind of came clean and said, I know we've had a tough reputation in the past. They were getting bashed in this thread, and they came back not as, Happy Bride 27. They came back as Blue Lens Caribe, and they get a badge that says that they're a vendor. Underneath their post is an image. It's a link to their website. It can be a link to their Twitter feed. It's a way to be totally transparent of, yeah, I'm biased. Of course I love Blue Lens Caribe. I am Blue Lens Caribe. But when you're upfront about that fact, you can really create, again, a symbiotic relationship between your brand and your users. And so we've really been able to work together with Tammy and Steve to create these types of experiences of structure where we limit the way that the brands can participate on the site And again, it works out a lot more effectively for both the brand and for the community. So there's some more great examples of things that Tammy has done in terms of driving engagement and again, symbiotic relationships between her vendors and her community.
Yeah, we do allow our vendors to run contests. If they're a new vendor on the forum, it's a great way to get attention to their brand and their business. And these contests range in value of up to $10,000. So they're great prizes to win. It's also great because the members create great content for the forum. A lot of times the contests are like, tell us your love story, or how did you and your fiance meet? And it's great content. It really gets the whole forum to interact with each other, even if it is a member that has already booked their photographer. Everyone usually is really interested in following these contests, cheering on the members or the stories that we really like, just commenting on the quality of the vendors' work. So that has been really a great way to get attention to new members, new vendors on the forum.
And it's also just because they're giving away $10,000 in prizes or $3,000 in prizes, that doesn't always have to be the payment. You can still say, and in order to do this, there's a fee associated with that participation too. And that's where you really need to be thinking about using the right language and talking about packaging the strengths of your community and the goals of the brand so that you can run the forum as a business and generate revenue from things that, again, really benefit your community and really benefit the brand. So I think, Tammy figured this out a long time ago and had always had the instinct of how to do this, and we've really enjoyed working together and creating some additional structure and some additional ways to kind of create programs that have enabled us to bring in a larger number of vendors while continuing to grow the community as well. So it's been a great experience.
Yeah, it's been really important for me to not only just have the vendors on the forum and of course paying to participate, but also to have them contribute quality content. And I think we've done a really good job getting vendors to participate in a really positive way and in a way that really benefits our users. So we've been really happy about that. We did not want a site that just had a forum full of garbage information.
Yep.
We wanted something with quality information that people found value in and kept on returning. And because of that, it has built a reputation of being really the premier place to go if you're planning your destination wedding, which we're pretty proud of.
Thank you so much, Tammy.
Thank you.
So I think that's a great examples, and we'll give one more example. So that's how do you get, when you're a destination wedding site, how do you get destination wedding photographers and hotels and all those things, and moving up that chain to pay for access to the community is fantastic. My favorite is that we had a photographer call our sales team crying because the program that we put together, he booked so many weddings that he's finally able to open a real studio, and we changed his life by doing this. So again, it was a really great story. What about when you want to get bigger and you do want to go and sell to a really major agency or media company? Again, play to your strengths, right? You have all this authentic communication and all these authentic, passionate users coming through your community. How can you put something together that makes sense for both the brand and for them? So this is an example of something that we've been working on, and I've sort of redacted a little bit of information, but one of the communities we work with is called mothering.com. It's 1.5 million users a month coming through that site, talking about natural parenting. Phenomenal community. And if we came in and said, buy this washer dryer, buy this washer dryer, buy this washer dryer, it's inauthentic with the type of communication that happens on the site. It doesn't make sense for anybody. It's not going to work for the brand, and it's not going to work for the community. So instead, Lester on our team came up with the notion of, this washer dryer happens to be the fastest and most energy efficient that they've ever made, right? So let's instead just start conversations, if you had an extra 2 hours a week, how would you spend that time? And coincidentally, that's how much you would save if you do 3 loads of laundry a week and you have the fastest washer dryer on the market, right? If you had an extra $200 a year, how would you spend that on your family, right? It's also ultra quiet. How would you spend this extra quiet time that you have? Never once do you have to say that it's based on the washer dryer or anything like that, but you can do that through supporting ad units, and you can do that through other ways, or you can give away gift certificates or trial opportunities that really makes it feel more authentic with the community and the types of conversations that they're already having, while giving really, really positive associations and messaging for the brands. And so it's been a really interesting set of conversations we're having with these types of opportunities for really major brands. So kind of the notion is it may not be time for every site to have a $500,000 campaign come in from Best Buy, but it may be time for a local provider to start spending $500 a month or $1,000 a month or $5,000 a month. And that's definitely the experience that we've had working with Tammy and Steve, is that start with the local photographers, move up to the resorts, move up to the resort chains, and suddenly there's a real business, and it's very exciting to work together on. So understand the goals of these advertisers, what they're trying to generate, understand your strengths as far as your best metrics, and have a compelling anecdote and a story that you really believe in. You wouldn't run an online community if you didn't already feel that passion. So yeah, I think those are some of the ways that we like to think about kind of how to create these symbiotic marketing opportunities between brands and the communities that we work with. Happy to field any questions if anybody has any. I know we have sort of a varied audience of platform providers and marketers themselves and forum owners, so please.
Do you guys bring the brands to the forums? Like you say you had Best Buy, for example,
Sure.
and then you could access a technology forum. Would that,
Yeah.
do you do that as well, service?
Yeah, Huddler is a technology and services provider. So we are an online community platform, and the communities that we bring together create a very substantial network. A little over 12 million users a month, and so now as a result, when we get to that scale, we're able to approach much larger brands and bring opportunities that work across our entire network. So it is part of what we do, but we also, I wouldn't know the first thing about how to talk to Blue Lens Caribe. And so we have to create a great relationship with our partner sites of how to start that conversation. And I don't know anything about destination wedding planning, right? So we really rely on passionate forum owners and users to be the most valuable asset of creating this incredible content and incredible engagement. And then we help bring both the technology and the sales operations to turn that into a business. Any other questions? You're going to get a lot of great information today. I think we'll talk a lot about technology opportunities and other ways to grow engagement and grow revenue on your community. So I'll be sticking around. Please feel free to pull me aside at any time with any other questions that you may have. And thanks so much for the opportunity to speak with you this morning.